record for your classmates that couldn't be on. Today's class is April 14th, and this is 7th grade art, 4th period. And I want to do a quick announcement. So here's what you have been supposed to turn into me so far. Number 1, your Zentangle. Number 2, your picture where you're recreating a famous artwork. And I'm going to show you guys some of those that you did, which were really awesome. And number 3, I'm going to give you a quick assignment today. If you haven't done anything up until this point, you could make up all of that in a couple hours, okay? So I'm still taking work. I want to help everybody pass and help everybody do as good as they possibly can. And so I don't think that really applies to that many people on this call, but it might apply to somebody watching the replay. And I just want to throw that out there and let you guys know. Another thing is, if you have trouble or if you're confused about how to turn in things in Google Classroom, email me and I can send you a video on how to do that. But you want to upload videos to Google Classroom, or not upload videos, upload a picture of things to Google Classroom. So that way I have everything in one spot, because a lot of people I have like people turning things into me in 18 different ways. So that just makes it a little bit easier to make sure I get your grade in, okay? So I'm going to share my screen. I'm excited about these guys. They were fun. This was my other class. Oops. Oopsie. So they had to play with their food and make like little things out of their food. But y'all's was recreating the masters. You'll have to bear with me because my internet is not that great. Hello. So the whole point of that, I'm just going to talk why this is not working. The whole point of that is essentially to look at our historical piece and notice all the tiny little details in there. And so that way it's a little bit more personal with the artwork versus just like glancing at it, looking up some info and throwing it at me. So I think that it at least causes you to look at some of the details. And I wasn't able to pull all of them from Google Classroom because I have a ton of students, but I pulled some of them that I felt like were really creative and really thoughtfully done. And I want to share them with you, or that were just really funny. So these are the 7th and 8th grade ones. I'm going to show you through the 9th grade ones as well. And so this is an 8th grader, Lily Blaylocks. I thought it was funny because she like censored this person. But like she looked at her pose and tried to recreate the pose. This person even looks like they're throwing something in the air, or maybe there's something behind them, and so she threw money in the air, and instead of this little angel person over here, she has her dog. So she really looked at and adapted some of the things from that original artwork. This is a famous artist named Frida Kahlo. She is a Hispanic artist and is well known for her unibrow. And so Brianna Harris, she took her, I think this is her sister, I'm guessing, and took a picture of her with a little flower crown and made, I don't know if I think she made this like later with some editing, but she might have made it in the moment, I don't know, and gave her her little unibrows and a mole. So I just thought that was really funny. Some people like kind of adapted the pose. So this is the same pose as this Pablo Picasso painting. And Riley Milligan, she like wanted to do the scream, but she didn't have like a way to incorporate the colors, so she incorporated the colors digitally, which is also okay. Over here, and Stormy, instead of using like a piece of fruit and fancy draped clothing, she used a blanket and a toilet paper because it's a comment on coronavirus time. And this one, I really like, Addie, that you did like the filter over it too, because it makes it look old-timey, and you kind of adapted it to where it was a similar situation, similar pose, but it's you instead. So I think that this is really cool to be able to look back on. I wanted to show you some of the 9th graders. So this is the original painting, and this is Eli Nason. Instead of whatever the heck this is, he used crutches. And he even got down to the detail of like, there's red here, and the regular clothing. And this student just grabbed some like greenery and fake flowers that she had around her house and recreated this one, which was lucky that she had all that, because I definitely don't. And then this one I think is funny because it's an abstract painting that's kind of like, what even is that? And they just recreated it with toilet paper. And then these are 2 of my favorites too. So this is Bryce Heron. Instead of girl with a pearl earring, it's him with a bandana or a shirt or something wrapped around his head, and he has an AirPod in. And then this one, instead of fancy clothing and a fan, she has her robe and her Lysol. So again, that's making commentary on the time and like what we're doing right now in the world. So I'm going to get to next week's assignment here. So here's what I want you guys to do. So I want you to open the chat window and think about if you were locked in one room for the entirety of this quarantine, what is something that you would want to be in that room? It doesn't have to be like the only thing, like what's one thing you would take from an island, but what's something you would want to be in there? I'm going to do the chat as well and do that. And you might have to click around on your computer or on your phone a little bit to figure out where the chat is. So it can be a person, it can be a thing, it can be a piece of technology, it can be maybe you want plants, like it can really be anything. Basketball, football, my brother. Yeah, like I am really appreciating the people in my life now. And my husband lives in my house, so I'm not alone. So I would want him there. Pets, awesome. My puppy has been like the best because I've gotten to hang out. Phone, best friend, family, food, PS4, pets. See, those are so many ideas. So this is good because it's what we're going to be doing our project on. So this project is going to be 2 weeks of digital class. So, but I'm going to break it down a little bit. I'm only supposed to give you guys as an elective teacher since I'm art. I don't know why I put air quotes around that, but since I'm art, I'm only supposed to give you about 20 minutes of work a week. And so we're going to break this project down into 2 parts, and you're going to have something due at both parts, if that makes sense. And it'll make a little more sense in a minute. So this project's called #CoronaMason, which means Mason. The word Mason means house in French. And that's going to make a little bit more sense in a minute. But just kind of keep that in your brain space. So this artist up in the right here, her name is Penelope Bagu, and she is an illustrator that lives in France right now. And so these are some of the things she's illustrated. She writes books and illustrates them, and that just means that she draws the pictures for them. And what I wanted to show you is her characters aren't realistic. And so I think that a lot of people, especially in beginning art, think that they have to be super awesome at technical, like drawing and being able to draw things super realistically. But no, they can be kooky and a little bit more simple and still be successful in the art world. So what's cool is I'm able to follow this artist on Instagram, like, and see the behind the scenes of her life. Like here's her cat and some yarn and her camera. Here's some artwork that she's doing, like based off of things that are in her home. And here are some like little character doodles of kind of things that like people, and basically the way that she's seeing and interacting with people now, like with the mask on, she's cooking a lot. And so doing some commentary and some things that are related to the world right now. But what she has done, and she went on Twitter, and this is in French, obviously, so I'm going to translate it. She put out this template, and a template is just kind of like a place to start with something, right? It's a, I don't really know the actual terminology, but it's a blank thing to put artwork or something in. And so she put out this template that somebody created, and she said, I challenge artists and creative people to draw the floor, decor, company, animals, food, the windows, the ideal place to be confined. And so this is a blank room, and all there is a staircase on the left. And so let me show you what she created. This is what she created based off of it. So instead of just, again, I'm going to pan back on that. This is a blank room. And now she has patterns on the staircases. She has plants on the staircase. She has frames over here. She has windows. Like, I don't want to be confined in a windowless room, you guys. She's got a hammock, plants, books, a puzzle. Like, what are all the things that she wants in there? There are a few different reasons why I think this is really cool. Number one is I can tell a lot about this person by the things that are in this room. Like she either likes to color or draw. She likes to read. She has crystals. She has coffee and coffee mugs over here, so she must drink coffee. She likes plants. She has plants everywhere. She does yoga and plays guitar. She's probably kind of hippy dippy. We would probably get along, but I'm seeing a lot about this person just based off of their artwork. Another cool thing about this is that none of these drawings are super complex, right? Like they're all kind of simple. Like look at these cups over here. Like this is one shape and then another shape built onto it. You don't have to be an incredible artist to create something that looks cool like this. You just have to add a lot of detail and a lot of interest in it. So what I think is neat about these is that like I keep wanting to look at it to keep finding the detail in it. And so think about Instagram or TikTok real quick. The whole purpose of those apps is to keep you on it, right? And so what if the purpose of art, or what if one of the purposes of art can be to keep you looking at it or to keep you thinking about it? And so if I'm continuing to look at this and finding the things in it and making these assumptions about this person, then I'm staying with the artwork longer, which to me is more meaningful than a drawing of a tree. So this is an example of an exquisite corpse drawing. So exquisite corpse is when artists create artworks with one theme, but they have no idea what other people are doing. So this is a great example of that. Like she puts out a template, people create different things from all around the world on it, and then like they don't know what other people are doing with that. But then each person that does that individual artwork puts it all together and they come up with this Corona Mason, Corona house. So it's an individual artwork process where nobody knows what other people are doing, but then it creates an artwork in itself. And so what this artist has done is she's taking all of these artworks that people are submitting and putting them in a giant like scroll down page where everybody can see the different rooms that others have created from all ages. So it's a singular thing, but it's also a collaboration, which tells a lot about like where we're at right now, right? Because we're in class, but we're all in different places and we're collaborating to like make a class happen. So you do that now with birthdays, with like staff meetings. So it's kind of interesting to me. I want to show you a few examples of professional artists that have responded to this. So this artist's name is Nicolas Gendron, and these are some examples of his artwork on the right, and this is his example of his Corona place that he wants to be quarantined. Now, you notice that his is a little bit more silly. Like, you probably wouldn't want to be quarantined with a plant that could maybe eat you, but you can make it a little bit more creative and a little more silly if that's what you want. And he does a lot of artwork where he adds like different characters and weird things. But what I wanted to show you about this is, again, there's not a lot of difficulty to adding bricks to the wall, but that just makes it a little more interesting. He even added like another space out here. He wants a balcony. So not only does he want windows, he wants a balcony. And the previous artist had a beach outside. So think about not only what do you want in your room, like what would be outside your room? What qualities would your room have? And you can even see how if this is his art style, he used the similar colors and things like that as well. This guy drew his home studio. So a studio apartment is like one room that you live in large cities like New York. It's a lot of money to live there, so they have basically one room that does all your needs, right? So he has his fridge in here, his desk, his place to draw, his couch, his yoga mats back here. Looks like a gaming system and a TV. Again, I'm able to know a lot about this guy just by looking at his artwork, which I think is really neat. And he is a pen and ink artist. He uses pen to make his artwork, so he used pen to make his Corona Mason. And some people are even using other things in their life to create more unique versions of this. So even though they didn't use the templates that the artist provided, they still included this staircase, and it's still a room that is their ideal room to be in, right? So this looks like pool. They have like little pool sticks. There's a cat back here. There's a lot of people in this room. There's dart boards. You got some plants and a fan in case it gets hot. So again, I'm still looking for that detail in there. And I put a link on here because she's from France, and so the first people that kind of started doing this were French. But I put a link on here for you to look at a bunch of other people's artwork and how they created it. But they even, some people even changed like the staircase, or they added things onto it, or they added like another door over here, or bookshelves. Just think about even furniture. And even though whenever we do create this and draw this for ourselves, you might not want a like dinosaurs in your room, but maybe you like the way they did the window. So you can kind of use other people's stuff for inspiration in that way. Here's some other ones that they created, and some people, again, were kind of silly with it. Like this is like people in a home of chaos with a bunch of children, where things are falling off the walls and everything is craziness. These people look like they're just having a party, but their room is kind of messier. So again, you can tell like this is more like a living room situation, where two people are in it. Lots of animals in this one, and there's a whole nother room back here, which I think is cool. And again, like you can see the different takes and tones and moods of how people responded to this with different materials. Look, it's a corgi. So your first assignment, this is what's due this week. What is actually due to me is going to be a list of 10 things that you would like to have with you in your ideal coronavirus quarantine room. You can do this on a piece of paper and upload a picture. You can do it on a Google Doc. I really don't care as long as it's uploaded to Google Classroom. That should take you maybe 5 minutes, okay? You can make a list of more than 10 things. And don't take things off because you don't know how to draw them. Like, I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire and make you put it in your final room, but I want you to brainstorm on that. And then your second thing is to either print out or draw a template of the room for the next week's assignment. So let me explain this real quick. It's 11:17 right now. At 11:30, your Google Classroom assignment will become live. That means you can see it, right? I've scheduled it ahead of time. This PowerPoint is connected to that, as well as a link for this template, so you can download it, okay? And so you can either print this off if you have access to a printer. I just got a printer this year, so I understand most people don't have printers at home. Or you can draw it out. If you do choose to draw it out, I know there's varying levels of art like skills. You can either completely not have the staircase in there, or you can make the staircase easier, or you can draw the staircase differently. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to show that you just have a blank room that you can draw into for the next week. Because this week what we're doing is just brainstorming, getting prepared, and then next week we are going to start adding things and drawing them into the room. The whole purpose, you guys, I'm going to stop my screen share because you don't really need this anymore. The whole purpose of me having you give me a list of 10 things is so that way if 10 people want to include an Xbox, I can either make a video or find a video on easy, simple ways to doodle Xbox, okay? I'm also going to show you guys how to make it look like there's another room, or like there's windows, or there's a door on the side. I want you guys to have that resource. If you want to work ahead, you're welcome to. You have the PowerPoint. I even put little links in there for a video, how you can make things look like they go back in the distance, but that's completely up to you. Okay, so again, the only thing that you have to do this week is somehow upload a list of, like, the only thing you have to turn into me is somehow a list of 10 things that you want in your coronavirus room, at least 10 things. So again, it should only take you 5 minutes, so that's really cool. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, you can unmute right now and ask them, whether it be about this project or turning in things. If you turned something into me yesterday and I haven't gotten your grade in yet, then I will be doing that today. But as of right now, if you have your work to me by this weekend, your grade should be updated. So if you're not sure if you have everything to me, that would be a really great place to check, because your grade is updated for my class, okay? All right, so I'm gonna hop off. It was good to see some of your faces. I need to see the other two faces next week. But y'all have a fantastic day. And yeah, I really enjoyed your projects, so keep rocking it.